Dan Horton here with Oasis TV in Los Angeles. And today we're with Ena Seagull, creator of the visionary intuitive healing method and also author of this fascinating new book, The Secret Language of Your Body. We've got so much great information to go through today, as well as a 1-minute process that Ena's authored that will teach you how to specifically deal with a certain part of your body and how to heal it. We're going to get back to that right after the break. But right now, please help me welcome Ena. Ena, welcome.
Thank you, Dan. It's great to be here.
Let's just start off talking about the visionary intuitive healing. That seems to be the core of what you teach and kind of your springboard for everything else. So just to help us maybe understand it a little bit and help the viewers out there that may not be familiar with it, what's kind of the core message and what are some of the things that it involves?
Great question. Visionary intuitive healing is a healing modality that I actually developed from years and years of doing healing work and seeing things that did and didn't work. And one of the things that I teach people is to tune into their bodies and understand exactly what is going on an emotional, mental, energetic and physical levels. And then I teach them very simple, easy processes that they can do to heal themselves. And then I also teach them things about the universe and universal laws and how they can start to transform their whole life, not just their health.
Wow, that sounds like a lot, and it sounds like if people can really accept that and take into it, it really could transform their lives in maybe a lot of ways. One
of my translators in France, she was translating for me and she did the workshops and she decided to really embrace everything that I taught, even though originally she was very skeptical and almost didn't come to the workshop because she was translating later. And she had a cyst that was cancerous and the doctors told her she had to have an operation and she also couldn't have children. And she decided not to go for an operation but to actually use the healing techniques that she learned and see what happened in a few months, and if she needed to then she would have the operation. But it was amazing. She went and had the tests done and it was completely clear, no cyst, nothing. Then she said to me, well, you know what, you don't just teach about health, you teach about other things, so I want to manifest soulmate. And she goes, and it has to happen in 2 weeks before you leave. And I was like, wow, some pressure here.
So just a little.
So basically within 2 weeks she literally met this man who came to the workshop, and now they're together and she's about to give birth, so she's pregnant. And they're getting married, and she actually also started doing healing work as a job and has people on waiting lists for like 3-4 months. So I was like, wow, I'm like, that was a good meeting. There were a few different things that helped me. One was the fact that I can actually see inside people's bodies, and I discovered this after I did the healing on myself. And the other thing that I discovered was that once you tune into your body and you can actually do it properly, you can see inside other people's bodies as well. So anyone can do it. In fact, I've never met anyone who couldn't do it. I've met people who took longer. And there's lots of obvious things that are in the body. And if you know what the function is of each part of the body and you start to tune into it, then you can find out what's going on there.
So many interesting things to talk about with your book and the visionary method. I'm really interested right now in talking about kind of energy healing itself, because energy healing is somewhat of a, let's just say it's a concept that a lot of people out there don't really understand, even though it's maybe come into vogue a little bit more in the last few years, and it seems to be kind of at the core of what you're doing in a lot of ways. So what would you say, what would be something that you'd say to the layman out there that doesn't really understand energy healing, what it entails and some of the things that it encompasses?
What I would actually say is it's really easy to feel energy, and this is something that I teach all the time and something that I include in my 1-minute healing process. So what people can do to feel energy is just rub their hands together. And as they're doing that, you're actually warming up your whole system in your body, because we have so many acupressure points in our hands. And then you just place your hands just next to each other and you're going to feel tingling sensations. So you already feel energy. And then what I get people to do is to work with color. And so if you imagine different colors, like let's say if you imagine red, the energy you're going to feel is going to be completely different if you're imagining blue. So you'll feel different heat, different sensations, and this is how I get people, you know, especially at the beginning stages of understanding this work, to connect with it and go, yeah, I'm feeling it, you know, I can actually feel it, you know, in my hands. And then you can work with it on yourself or on other people by putting your hands just above a part of your body or on that part of your body that you want to heal, or on someone else, and you might start to feel tingling sensations and kind of movements in your body. This is what energy is, you know, and science has actually told us that we are made of energy. So we're not actually physical beings, but energetic beings. And so it makes sense to work with it.
Sure, it does, whether it's quantum physics or Qigong or acupuncture or so many modalities. Very interesting what you touched on right there when you talk about color, and I noticed in your book too, obviously you're talking about the mental aspects, the emotional aspects, the physical aspects, and kind of how everything is connected in a system. And you just gave us that amazing story earlier about how a person went from physical to, you know, changing her life. How would you say, what are one of the examples that you could use on how the whole system kind of combines, and how your teaching and what you draw upon helps somebody harmonize that whole system?
When I started teaching, I wanted to connect everything together because I had gone to so many different workshops. And what I was finding was that people would teach different aspects of healing. So they'd go, let's talk about our minds, or, you know, the power of the mind, or let's talk about energy, or let's talk about emotions. And it seemed all separate and kind of a little bit disconnected. And I thought, but we have all of this, so let's connect it all together. You know, this is who we are. And so I started to focus on the body and go, well, what can we do, you know? And I thought, well, most of us can visualize, or we can at least think about things. So I thought, well, let's put the visual aspect together. We all need color. I mean, we can't live without color. We need to go outside and see things, you know, that are colorful to feel better. So I thought we definitely, I'm going to bring color in, and it's so easy, so simple, so understandable.
Also fun.
Fun, yeah, fun's important. And then I thought, touch. It's so important in healing, you know, so touching either different parts of your body and breathing. You know, your breath, or, you know, doing different gestures with your hands, or, you know, massaging different parts of your body, or acupressure points. Again, it just moves the energy that's stuck. So you know, and even voice, kind of singing or humming, and I just wanted to bring it all together so that people could find it really user-friendly. And all of us have different aspects that we're stronger in, and some aspects we're a bit weaker in. And I thought, you know, if I put everything together, then, you know, something will work.
And that leads me to kind of my next question is your life. I mean, you've done, you know, you're doing so many things. You know, you've produced over 30 audio programs, you've got a DVD out, you've got, you know, a fascinating book out, you've created your own method, as well as I was reading that you've created a line of music CDs for children. You know, I guess, you know, my next question to you is, with so much going on and all the traveling and the speaking engagements and the workshops, I mean, how do you, and a family of your own, how do you find time to do it all? I mean, wow, I'm just getting tired thinking about it. Excuse me.
I'm good at time management.
I guess so.
You know what, I teach people about how to live a more balanced life, and I know when you say all that, it sounds a bit crazy, and occasionally I go, you know, but most of the time I meditate every single day, you know, so I do healing on myself, I connect, I understand what my body's saying, you know, so I could be teaching a workshop, and then I might have 5 minutes and I just balance and ground myself and, you know, reconnect, and I try and really find balance in what I'm doing, even when I'm traveling, you know. And then when I'm at home, I have lots of time where I'm writing my book, or I'm doing stuff, and I have lots of breaks, you know, I have time with my children, or I go out with my friends. So, you know, and I haven't done all of this at once, you know, it's years and years of kind of work.
No, it sounds much easier to me now.
You can breathe now.
Speaking of that, you were talking about meditating and keeping yourself in balance. Brings in another concept that you talk about quite a bit, is divine healing intelligence. Talk about how maybe that helps you keep your life balanced, and maybe what, you know, for the viewer out there again, what that is, and maybe how they can incorporate that into their own practice, their own lives.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is great, because to me, it kind of brings me back to my own experience and my own story. Because when I started, well, I decided to get into this whole thing because I was in a lot of pain, you know, like most people do, and I was pretty young. So from about 15, I had quite a bit of pain in my back and in my body, and I tried everything. I went to doctors, physios, chiropractors, and alternative therapists, and I just wasn't getting better. And at one point, when I was about early 20s, I wake up one day, and this was my turning point, and I was just in agony, like literally my back was twisted, I was in so much pain. And I said to my husband, Paul, you need to drive me to the chiropractor's office straight away. And he did, and every kind of bump in the road was like agony. And once I kind of almost crawled into his office, the chiropractor looked at me and he just said, your body's stuck. And I said, I know that part. What are you going to do about that? And he said, nothing. And I was like, nothing? What do you mean nothing? And he said, nothing. Your body wants to be stuck. Go home. And I was like, oh my God, I was so angry. So actually, I didn't feel as much pain on the way back because I was so mad. But I started reflecting on that communication that our bodies have with us, you know. And when I got back home, I decided that I was going to find out this secret language of our bodies. And because I had been born in Russia and I came to Australia, I had to learn, you know, how to speak English. So I was familiar with learning a new language. I just didn't know how to learn this one. And so I thought, I'm just going to try everything. And divine intelligence kind of came into this because I thought, you know what? I can't do this by myself. I need extra help because I've tried, you know, I've tried everything. So I'm going to connect to this divine intelligence. Didn't really know how to do that except by asking. So I said, if there is something divine out there, I need help, and I need this help right now, so show me. And then I started meditating, breathing with the pain, counting backwards. And as I was doing it, I started to feel this warmth through my body. And it was like almost this golden light went through, and I just started to feel more peaceful, and like something else was there. And then I tuned into my body and actually literally saw my back. It was a bit scary and it was all twisted. And I said, okay, what are the thoughts, energies, emotions that are stuck here? And I started to feel all this fear and anger and frustration and stress. But what was really interesting about it wasn't just mine. I realized that some of it was from my grandparents who'd gone through the war, my parents. And I thought, oh great, I'm carrying everyone else's stuff besides my own. And so I said, okay, I'm willing to let this go, willing to let this go. And I literally fell asleep, and the next morning when I woke up, 70% of the pain was gone, and my back wasn't twisted anymore. So I thought, okay, now I'm really interested. Now I want to find out. You wake up in the morning and you realize I have a lot to do. So you start communicating both with that universal intelligence and with the intelligence of your brain and your body. And you start asking empowering questions like, all right, and this is an example, divine intelligence, I have a lot to do today. Please help me. Please support me. Please allow that this happens with ease, flow, and grace. Allow me to get everything done that I need to get done today, but with ease and joy. Let me be enthusiastic about the work that I need to do. Or let's say you're really open, you're feeling really good. All right, divine intelligence, show me something fantastic today. Help me to have the most greatest, most vibrant, most exciting day that I can have today. Give me some positive surprises. Show me how today I can receive more abundance into my life. Show me how I can feel even better than I feel now. Give me energy. help me to experience my life in the most vibrant, positive way. Bring to me people who are going to inspire me. And what I say to people in terms of the divine intelligence is, you know, and you probably noticed it's in every single process in the book, you start with divine healing intelligence, is that we have access to this incredible divinity, you know, and why should we do it on our own, you know? It's too hard, it's a struggle, you know, but when we connect to something higher, we just feel that, you know, being taken care of or protected or, you know, safer.
So interesting with the divine intelligence and how much it governs, obviously, and it's kind of a foundation for you in so many things. Just kind of expounding on that a little bit. And you said that when you connected with it, especially when you were going through your hard time, when your back was twisted, and that you woke up and, again, 70% was healed. I mean, you're obviously tapped in. When you say that you're connected to it, do you ever feel, you know, we have a lot of concept of spiritual guides, of angels, of things of this nature. Does that come into it at all for you, or is it just kind of something that you tap into a flow and that moves through you, or is it a variety of things?
Yeah, it's interesting you ask that, because I have had a few really amazing experiences with angels, but just before that with divine intelligence, I use it not just for pain relief, I use it for anything that's going on in my life. So I'll say, you know, this is the issue I'm having, you need to help me now. Show me, give me an answer. You know, I need support, and I really encourage people to ask that.